Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm a full-time eBay reseller based in Melbourne, Australia. Today we're going to talk about combined shipping. So, combined shipping comes into play when someone buys more than one item from your store. You don't have to combine shipping, but it's an option. And I guess it's one of those things where, as a seller, we want to know, are we giving value to our buyers? But also, do we have to give value to our buyers for them to buy from us? There's a common misconception that if I keep charging my buyers shipping over and over and over again, they will not buy because they will know they're paying multiple amounts of shipping. Well, if you list items with free postage, which means that the buyer doesn't actually know what the shipping cost is, and the items are priced to market because you are able to get your items at a very, very low cost, then what's wrong with them paying multiple amounts of shipping anyways? I mean, when I sell comic books, it's free shipping because it's really just a matter of stamps. One comic book is 2 stamps, 3 comic books is 3 stamps, and then 5 comic books is like 5 stamps. So whether I include the cost of the stamps or not, the price of the comic book needs to be competitive. So say $14.95 or $9.95. Like, I cannot do $9.95 plus my cost of stamps because the buyers buy them as if they're buying it from a news agency. So because of that, I have to absorb that cost, which also means if a buyer buys multiple comic books, I get to combine the shipping on my end, but I don't actually refund anything back to the buyer because that's the expected transaction between me and the buyer for that category. But there are other categories like clothing, for example, whereby if let's say you buy a pair of jeans on eBay and it's $8 more than retail, or happens to be around retail, there's a general assumption that shipping is already built into the price. So you might want to include a rule that deducts shipping when they buy more than 2 items, 3 items, 4 items. And the way to do that is to do it via this thing called combined shipping. And you have flat postage rules, and you also have calculated shipping rules, and you have promotional postage rules. So those 3 sound complicated, but I'll break it down for you. Simply put, it's the ability to deduct or add shipping onto the following transaction. So say, for example, you have a $10 flat rate shipping for an item that you're selling, and you have $10 flat rate for, let's say, most of your items, say 100 items. Someone buys 5 items with $10 flat rate shipping. The way you can combine it is you can create a flat postage rule that says for every subsequent item, deduct 95% of the shipping. And what that will do is it will just essentially add $10 minus $9.50. So therefore, for every subsequent item, the buyer pays an extra 50 cents. I do something like that. And I do that because if someone buys 1 item, it's a small parcel. 2 items, small parcel, small parcel. By the 4th item, we get into the medium flat rate parcel, in which case then they essentially pay retail at the 1 item mark and the 5 item mark. But 2, 3, 4, I make a bit of profit to cover the fee on shipping and eBay. But at the same time, it's not so much more of an increase in postage that the buyer cares. So that's kind of the balance that I found. Whether you agree with it or not is besides the point. It works for my business, helps my business grow. It hasn't made my sales slow down. And that addresses the main concern, isn't it? How do I combine postage in such a way that buyers are not put off by my store, but rather feel like, yeah, it's all right. I don't see how it's bad. I'm just going to keep buying anyways. And especially in reselling, when a lot of the items that we sell are items that buyers can't find anywhere else. Especially if you are a leader in your category. You could be a leader in selling particular brands of clothing, particular brands of toys, you get the idea. If you're the leader with the biggest range, the range draws the buyer to the store. How you choose to combine postage, as long as it's not absurd. An extra 50 cents an item is not absurd. Most people don't even think about it. And if that's what you do, the range draws them to your store. The fact that you provide that range is value enough for them to keep shopping regardless of the extra 50 cents they pay per item. Or you could just minus altogether. If let's say you're someone who wants to move stock very quickly, you might say free postage if you buy more than 10 items. And for you to do that, you would do it in the promotional postage rules. So in promotional postage rules, you can actually say if you buy more than a certain amount or buy more than a certain quantity, you get free postage. And that's something that you could do to, I guess, get them to go from this kind of gradiented area to 10. So I have that in one of my stores where I make that extra 50 cents for, 2, 3, 4 items. Then at 5, it's retail again. Then 6, 7, 8, 9, I make some money. And my money, once again, 50 cents per item, right? And then once they get to that 10 item mark, it's free postage for them. And I swallow that whole cost because then I'm paying an extra 50 cents per item to get all those items sold. So that could be something you could do because the value proposition now favors you a lot more because now you're actually shipping all 10 items out and you're moving stock and getting some storage back. So that's calculated shipping. Flat rate postage rules, and then you got promotional postage rules. With calculated postage rules, it's a bit more complicated, and essentially what it comes down to is when you calculate it, it's more to do with the weight. So if you calculate the weight and the dimensions of a single item and how to pack it, and then you want to combine multiples, you are giving eBay the item dimensions and the weight of the packed single item. Obviously, if you pack multiple items, you will give up some dimensions because you will be giving up some length, some width, some height, some weight, because you'll probably use less bubble wrap. You're not using many small boxes, you're using one big box. So really, that calculated postage rule setting, it's more about how much weight do you give up because you're using less packaging on a combined order. So it could be a case of, for this item, it's 100 grams, but for the next item, deduct 10 grams, 20 grams, pick a number. So this comes down to the whole really wanting to be accurate thing versus using the rules to drive volume. So for me, I use the you can tell from the video, I use the flat postage rules, I use the promotional rules because they are both more aimed towards moving stuff, making sure my buyers buy more. And so have a play around with it. See, also when you can create multiple rules, but you can only apply one of each to your listing. So for example, you can apply a flat postage rule, one of them, and a promotional rule, one of them, to each listing. You can't do multiple because they would conflict with each other. And the way you would see that is when you go to your listing, you will find that under the postage component where you've got the price and you got the say Australian standard parcel, and then you've got the price. Then you've got two drop-down menus. You've got a rate table drop-down menu, and then you've got the postage rule drop-down menu. And then at the bottom, you've got promotional rule that you can click as well. So if you drop down that postage rule menu, you can name your rules so that you select the right one. So for me, I've got one postage rule for domestic and one postage rule for international. So for those of you who don't like international, because it's hard, because if you don't play with postage rules, the other way to refund buyers postage is to literally refund them. If they pay 2 lots of $10, you will refund one, but eBay doesn't let you get the feedback on that one. So essentially you're out of pocket 2 postage fees on 1 postage fee received. So when you're thinking about $10, fine, I'll swallow the extra $1.20 of fees. But if we're talking about international fees that are like, $29, it's not appealing to refund that because you're now losing, what is almost $4 worth of fees, right? So then having an international postage rule makes international shipping a lot easier because when you realize that it's based on weight rather than size, you will know that it goes up by roughly $10 every 500 grams. So it'll be like $29, $39, $49, $59. Then you can kind of work on a percentage and go, if I minus 90%, if I minus 90% or add 10% of the next tier of $10, that's like adding $3, and then eventually you will more or less get to the next tier at retail and so forth. And then you obviously get your discount if you're on a higher band that you still get to keep. So postage rules widen your market. Postage rules protect your margins. Postage rules help you to move volume. So I very much recommend you guys give it a go. Wrap your head around it. Like, I remember I did the refund postage thing for about a year because I just couldn't be bothered wrapping my head around postage rules. And then eventually I was just like, this is stupid. Like, I should be able to wrap my head around this. So then I just sat down and went, what is 95% of $10? It feels silly, but a lot of us don't want to do math. I say that a lot on the channel, like math is something that we don't like. But the fact is, maybe maths teachers did this to us. I shouldn't say that. My sister's a maths teacher and she's an amazing one, so I shouldn't say that. And I had pretty good maths teachers too. For some of them. But the point is, like, I think when we have to sit down and finally muck around with the spreadsheet again, a lot of us like, I don't want to do it. But when you eventually do it, you realize that numbers are reliable, and once you get the ranges within which your shipping sits, you can more or less not think about it anymore, and it's quite freeing to allocate that mental resource elsewhere. So let me know if you want me to do actual screen capture. The reason why I'm doing a talking kind of video on this is because I recognize it probably would be a lot better doing a screen capture. I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet for the channel, but I will. Just give me some time to kind of learn that and run this whole reselling business at the same time. So yes, if it would help to actually do it on the screen. I did see some screen capture videos and I watched them and they made me so tired because for the most part, eBay screens are white. So it's like staring at a white screen kind of moving around and my eyes got really tired. So I was kind of like, oh, should I do one? Should I not? But yeah, it's literally just settings on the screen. More than happy to do a screen capture video once I figure out how to and voice over that. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you are someone who uses postage rules and how that's working for you. Until the next video, I'll see you. Have an awesome weekend. Bye.